What if I told you the world's greatest investor, a man who mocked gold for decades, is now quietly following the same playbook China has been using to take control of the precious metals market? This isn't some internet rumor or wild theory. Billionaire investor Kevin O'Leary just confirmed this shift in a recent interview, and when legends who dismiss something for years suddenly reverse course, it's usually because something massive is unfolding behind the scenes, something most people still don't see. For decades, Warren Buffett was one of gold's loudest critics. He repeatedly said gold does nothing, it doesn't produce income, it doesn't innovate, it doesn't grow. He once explained that if you melted all the gold in the world into a giant cube, it would just sit there, shiny but useless, while great businesses would be creating value, generating profits, and building real wealth year after year. And for a long time, most investors agreed. Why own something that just sits there when you could own companies that actually make money? But then something changed. In 2020, Buffett's company Berkshire Hathaway shocked the market by buying into a major gold mining company. At first, people brushed it off as a tiny position, a simple experiment, but it wasn't random. It was the start of a much bigger realization. Buffett wasn't suddenly falling in love with gold. He was paying attention to China because China has been buying gold at a pace the modern world has never seen, month after month, year after year. Their central bank keeps stacking more, and now they aren't even hiding it. They're openly reporting their purchases like they want the world to know what's coming. So why would a nation holding trillions in reserves suddenly rush into gold? It comes down to one word: de-dollarization. For decades, the US dollar has controlled global trade. Countries use it to buy oil, to settle debts, to store wealth, and that gave America enormous power. But China watched what happened to Russia, hundreds of billions frozen overnight. Access to money gone with the flip of a switch, and they understood something terrifying. If your wealth is in dollars, it can be taken. So they started moving into something no government can freeze, no sanction can block, no political decision can erase gold. And according to Kevin O'Leary, this is exactly why the smartest money on earth is shifting right now. Not because gold is shiny, but because the global financial system is changing faster than most people realize, and those who see it early protect their wealth. While everyone else finds out too late, he said smart money is watching China and following their lead. When a nation with some of the sharpest long-term strategists on earth makes a massive move into gold, you don't brush it off. You study it. You respect it. And according to Kevin O'Leary, that's exactly what Warren Buffett has been doing. Buffett may never step on a stage and announce he's bullish on gold. He may never admit his thinking has shifted. But his actions are telling a very different story, because the gold investment wasn't a one-off move, it was the opening signal. Since then, analysts have noticed Berkshire Hathaway quietly increasing exposure to assets that benefit from rising gold prices and economic instability. At the same time, Buffett has been doing something even more interesting. He's been selling bank stocks, positions he held for years, reduced or exited. And that's not a coincidence. Banks thrive when the dollar is strong, when interest rates are predictable, when the financial system runs smoothly. Gold thrives when trust in paper money fades, when inflation eats purchasing power, when global tensions rise. By rotating out of banks and into gold-related assets, Buffett is making the same bet China has been making for years. Kevin O'Leary described it perfectly. We're entering a new financial era where the old rules may not protect you anymore. The dollar could stay dominant, or face pressures we've never seen. Inflation could remain calm, or come roaring back and wipe out savings. In times like these, gold isn't just a metal, it's insurance, it's protection. It's the one asset that has survived every empire, every war, every financial system humanity has ever created. And the timing couldn't be more important. We're living in one of the most uncertain periods in modern history. Global debt is exploding. The United States alone now carries over $34 trillion. Interest payments are becoming one of the government's biggest expenses. Meanwhile, central banks have printed more money in a few years than in the previous decades combined. And history is clear about one thing. You can't create trillions out of thin air without consequences. China knows this. Their economists have been preparing for it, studying it, positioning for it. By building massive gold reserves, they're creating a financial shield against whatever storms lie ahead. And here's the genius of their strategy. They buy slowly, quietly, over years, keeping prices reasonable while building enormous positions. But when crisis hits and everyone rushes for safety, there won't be enough gold to meet demand. Prices won't rise gently, they'll explode. And those who prepared early will hold the advantage. That's classic Buffett thinking. Be early, be patient, move before the crowd wakes up. Right now, most investors are distracted. Stocks, real estate, crypto. Whatever has been hot lately, gold gets ignored, labeled as old-fashioned, something for doomers, not serious money. But while the public looks elsewhere, the world's smartest capital is quietly positioning for a very different future. O'Leary also made one more powerful point. Modern investing is global. What China does affects America. What Europe does affects Asia. We're all connected now. So when China makes a massive bet on gold, that's not just Chinese news, that's a global signal. And when Warren Buffett quietly follows that same path, it should grab the attention of anyone who cares about protecting their wealth.